Hello, welcome back. All right, so this one is urinary system. And so basically we are going to see how does our body produce urine and what is the purpose, right? The purpose is basically is to clean our blood. So this one is another way to get extended from our cardiovascular system. So we first talk about the cardiovascular system. And the function of the cardiovascular system is to move the fluid, which is the blood. But another portion to manage our body fluid is the urinary system. So these two kind of like work hand in hand with each other, right? So this is the urinary tract. You need to know this is like gross anatomy, the very basic one. And I assume you know this already, but we just quickly go over so you know how is urine transport. It will be first produced in the kidney. We have two kidneys. Then kidney will transport the urine through ureter. Then two ureter will guide the urine into the bladder, urinary bladder. Here we store the urine, and then once it's full and the time is right, you cannot just urine anywhere, right? You need to voluntarily control your urination. The way we control it is to control urethra. So urethra has the voluntary control muscle. You need to know that all these uh, internal organs um, are controlled by the autonomic nervous system, are controlled by basically smooth muscle because you cannot control the kidney, you cannot control but you can control, can you control bladder? No, you cannot control the bladder. You can let go. You can squeeze it by your abdominal muscle. That's something you can control. But the organ, internal organ, this is not what you can voluntarily control. You don't even know if you know, the location of the bladder. So we don't control it. But what we can control is to control the urethra. So that is the tract. Now, before we jump into the detail about urine production, the very basic thing you must know is that how do we control our urination? So it's very basic, uh, you know, human body's function, right? How do we control our urination? We don't even control how they are produced, but how do we control the urination? Basically, how do we control if we let it out or not? So this is this one here. So the muscle to control the urinary tract. If we are talking about the urination, the micturition, so this is the term micturition, basically let go of the urine. It involves two areas. One is the bladder. This one sense, this one will get expand when your urine accumulate in the bladder. So that's one area. Another one is the urethra. Urethra, you have the voluntary control, which is controlled by the um, external urethral sphincter. So here you have the urethral sphincter. You have the external right here. So this one is a muscle circulating the urethra. So it's circulating it. So just voluntarily you hold on to it. So you don't let it go that easily. Yeah, so you will hold on to that. When your bladder is full, the only thing you can control is that external urethral sphincter. So that's what you can control. What you cannot control is the bladder. Bladder is controlled by the smooth muscle. So that's something you cannot control. We also have internal sphincter. So that is also controlled by the smooth muscle. So that's that. So now when you sense that your bladder is full, your brain will tell you that, okay, you really need to go pee, right? And so you voluntarily control your uh, external uh, external urethral sphincter. So that's that. So that's that easy. So the nerve to control your micturition involve the autonomic nervous system, which is that the parasympathetic nerve. So because the bladder is the kind of like digestive system, right? It's part of our visceral. So when you are digesting or resting, parasympathetic nerve will cause a contrast, and then you pee. But even though parasympathetic want to contrast it, parasympathetic nerve will get activated when your bladder is full. Your 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 consciousness will decide whether you wanna let external urethral sphincter open or not. Yeah, so you got to have parasympathetic nerve to cause the bladder contraction, as well as you voluntarily let go of your external urethral sphincter. Then it can let go. The internal urethral sphincter is controlled by the sympathetic contraction. So when you finish the urination, your bladder is empty, then your sympathetic will carry over by closing up the internal urethral sphincter. So that's that. So this one summarized a little bit about what's going on when your bladder is full. We can probably put it here. So I put it here. When your bladder is full, it will trigger your parasympathetic nerve to contrast your bladder. So parasympathetic contrast it. And then you will feel that compression, and you feel the urgency to go to find a place to pee. And so your consciousness will decide whether you will let go the external urethral sphincter or not. If the time's right, location is okay, then you will let go, then you can pee. One thing I also want to bring your attention is that this parasympathetic nerve is part of the digesting and resting. So digesting, resting, that involve your small intestine, large intestine, that when you are digesting, then it triggers the parasympathetic nerve. And so it involve when your when your guts are working, are moving, right? Digesting, and including when you go poop, right? And so when you go poop, your parasympathetic is on, and so you have that momentum that you poop, right? And in the same time, it will contrast your bladder, and at the same time, because it's in the restroom, so you feel comfortable, so you will pee. So it's very normal for you to poop and pee, you know. And so that's totally normal. Did you guys poop and then pee? Like always? It's like, to me, it's like like a standard. Yeah. So that's totally normal, right? Because the bladder and intestines, they are controlled by contrast by the parasympathetic nerve. So that's that. So that's how we do it. All right. All right. Knowing this, then we will trace back to see how do we produce the urine. So this is the urine. Now we know how do we let go of the urine. Then we are going to trace back to see how do we process it in the kidney. So how do we process the urine or produce the urine in the kidney? So here is a kidney. So you can see that this is what we trace back. This is the ureter. So you can see that ureter is a tube, and then it opens up, right? So it's a tube, then it opens up right here. So it opens up. And it opens up is like a cup to collect the urine. So it's like a cup. It's like opening to collect the urine. And so here is the urine, and urine will coming down here, trickling down, and from each one will go in here and go down here. It's three-dimensional, so you can see some from here, some of here, the other one from the other end, right? In the end of the paper, coming down here. So that's that. So that's how we produce urine. So once urine is produced, travel down to this location. This is called renal pelvis. Once it's location moving down to here, um, major calyx, minor calyx. When they move it down here, basically there's no way back. There's no turnaround. Urine will continue, got squeezed by the smooth muscle and going into the bladder. So that's that. So the source of the urine come from here. So let's look at this picture. This fluid got to came from somewhere. And where do they came from? You can see those fluid. It's actually come from the blood. So let's take a look at the blood vessel. So here is the blood vessel. This is artery. You can see the artery coming in. And you can see that even though it branched to different smaller artery, they all reach to the same location, which is the renal cortex. So here is the cortex, cortical region. They all ran to there. Why do they all go there? Why do they all go to this place? It's because that the purpose of this artery is the purpose of this blood coming into the renal artery. What's their purpose? Their purpose is not to nourishing the kidney. Now, nourishing the kidney is not their primary purpose. Their primary purpose is to get cleaned. This is the place blood is going to get cleaned. So they all rush into this cortical region. They all rush to there to get cleaned. Then how do they get cleaned? So we can see that they all rush into the cortical region. And what do they go? They all rush to the cortical region right here. They all rush to the cortical region. They go into a little pocket. They all go into each one of these. Well, we have multiple of these little pockets. This pocket is a group of capillary. So this is the blood vessel, smaller blood vessel capillary. And then over there, capillary is the place that fluid can diffuse out, right? Or move out, in and out. We have substance exchange. And so over there, we begin the journey of urine production. Where do we see here is that the blood start to interface with nephron. So this is another tube. This tube is not blood vessel. You can see the beginning of this tube right here, and then you can see several turn right here. The beginning of it here is called Bowman's capsule. We will talk about that. And then you have the proximal convoluted tubule, and then you have this convoluted, and then you have the loop of Henle, and then you have the distal, and then you have the collecting tubule, collecting duct. So these tubule is one to process the urine. This is the beginning, and this is the several turns that provide the different process to produce the urine. So that's that. So here blood's coming in, all rush into the interface between blood vessel and nephron. So we can probably look at another picture right here. So you can see that blood's coming in, all rush in. Artery bring the blood rush in. You need to know that these arteries are high pressure fluid. They will bring the blood coming here. Now you see the capillary. And so during this capillary has opening, right? So capillary is not tightly sealed across the entire vessel. They only have a single layer of the cell. Those are endothelium cells. So they have openings to allow substance exchange. And so when the fluid rush down here, the fluid will push a lot of fluid into the nephron. So this is nephron. And then we will describe, we talk about the blood vessel already. So you know the very simple idea, blood vessel coming from the heart, push the blood out, and then blood go through the artery, and here the fluid get pushed it through. So here is the beginning of the fluid. Over here, you kind of like keep the large substance inside of the blood. Large substance such as the blood cells, they will keep the blood, but small things will get pushed through. Small things include the monomer like glucose, amino acid, ions, sodium, potassium, water. They will get pushed through. They will get pushed through, and then here over here we start to use those fluid to produce urine. Yeah. So that is the interface. That is the beginning of urine production. So this is just another picture, but gradually we're gonna move into the nephron. So here is, show you a clear picture. This one is one example. You see one nephron, but you can see that this duct has several branch. So this one going here, we have another nephron going here, another nephron going here. This is the collecting duct. This is collecting tubule, collecting ducts. You can see that this artery, this is called efferent arteriole, the entering arteriole. This is the glomerulus, or it doesn't show here, but this is glomerulus. This is the efferent arteriole. And then you have the peritubular capillary, and then go through a lot of peritubular capillary, going back to the venule, then vein, then go back to the vena cava, and then go back to the heart. So that's the blood circulation. So let's look at this picture in a different way. So here is a kidney again. You have the cortex. This one is called medulla. And here is the nephron. So what do you need to know here is that the blood interact with nephron through several areas. The primary one, or the first one, is the glomerulus. So here is the beginning. Then in the nephron, you have different segments. Nephron, the beginning of nephron, we call it Bowman's capsule, right here, Bowman's capsule. Then you have the proximal convoluted tubule, proximal convoluted tubule, and then you have the loop appendage, then distal, and then collecting tubule, collecting ducts. You have another one here. You have the Bowman's capsule, then proximal, then loop appendage. So even though you have multiple, we have about 800 to a million, 800,000 to a million nephrons in each kidney, and they may look very, several times, but it ends up to be all the same. They all have the Bowman's capsule. So this is summary. You have the Bowman's capsule. This is beginning. Urine will go into here. Proximal convoluted tubule, loop appendage, distal, collecting tubule, collecting ducts. So that's that. I hope that's easy to know, right? So you have the blood, and the blood will have the interface with the nephron in two main locations, which is that in the Bowman's capsule, the blood will push the fluids through. So in here, you have filtration. While you have the filtration, the blood don't just let go. The vessel doesn't let go right here. The vessel doesn't let go. They wrap around it. Why? Because in addition to filtration, you will also have substance exchange. During this tubule, you have the secretion into the tubule. You also have reabsorption to take them back. So you have so that's that. So here is a quiz. Quiz will be something like to label it. Bowman's capsule, proximal, loop handy, collecting tubule, collecting ducts, loop handy. So that's that, right? So this is the kind of like give you a overview about the components in that urinary system. The next one, we will go through these tubule and to look into the interaction between the blood and the tubule, which basically involve the glomerulus that involve the filtration. Glomerulus, where we have the filtration. We have peritubular capillary, where we have the reabsorption and the secretion. And then after all this, urine will be cleaned. Urine basically will be produced. Blood will get cleaned and flowing back to the heart. But the urine will be produced and then go into the bladder. This one, we call it excretion. Basically, everything remain in the urine will get excreted. Basically, it will get pee out. So that's that. Let's take a break, and then we will start by looking into the detail about these multiple process. Basically, we'll look into the filtration, reabsorption, um, sorry, secretion, reabsorption. Blood, I want to also emphasize on the blood vessel portion. We have the afferent arterial, capillary, efferent arterial, then peritubular capillary, and then going back to the vein. You need to know this sequence though, because we will have the quiz on the blood flow sequence. We could have the quiz on the urinary sequence, which involve this one here. Let me show you. Urinary tract sequence, which involve the kidney, ureter, bladder, urethra. So that's a urinary sequence. As for the blood flow associated with the nephron, the blood flow sequence are right here. So the very closest one, we are not talking about the entire flow pathway, but very closest one you will have right here. You will have right here. You will have the afferent arterial that's coming in, glomerulus. Sometimes we call it glomerulus right here. Glomerulus right here. Glomerulus. So that's the capillary. Efferent arterial. So you can see that both are arterial. They carry high fluid pressure. So you can consider that glomerulus, even though it's capillary, the blood pressure is pretty high. So it can push the fluid through. Then efferent arterial, then you have another capillary. This is called peritubular capillary, where you can have substance exchange, you can have reabsorption and secretion. So you need to know that sequence. Yeah. All right, let's take a break and then we come back.